Daryl Johnson once again with Alan Rice Randolph. Today, quick video on freight brokerage. Nowadays, I guess over the past year or so, we've seen fuel go up to way more than it was the year before. We've also seen rates in the freight industry drop a good bit and stay low after the highs of COVID. You hear a lot of truckers and people in the trucking industry say, "Oh, the brokers are taking all the money. They're taking a cut." There's probably a lot of factors in why rates are low, and maybe that's one of them. But um, if people feel that brokerage is where the money is, why not jump into it yourself? So, quick slide on how to get into freight brokerage. It's really only two requirements. The first requirement is the application to the FMCSA and a fee of about $300 or so. And the other requirement is a bond. That bond can come in a couple of forms, officially known as BMC 84, 85. And depending upon your credit score and other factors, it's probably going to cost you anywhere from 1,000 to a couple grand to get that bond. That's all you absolutely need to start a freight brokerage legally, at least. There's obviously other things that you should have. One of them would be a LLC to protect yourselves from at least your personal property from liability and maybe some form of insurance. Sometimes just corporate insurance for one, and then some people will have kind of a supplemental insurance in case the carriers who actually move the loads for the brokers have insufficient amounts of insurance. That way, the broker's insurance can step in. So there's a couple different insurance things. Insurance, it's an interesting industry, but it's never bad to have insurance when you need it, right? A couple other considerations to think about. Um, Especially if you're already a motor carrier, probably not a good idea to try and add a freight brokerage alongside your motor carrier. So your freight brokerage and your motor carrier have the same company name, address, phone number, and or DOT or MC number. What happens is you run into insurance issues. So insurance companies are, you get insurance for your motor carrier because it's required by the government. But if your company is a motor carrier and also a broker, as a broker, you may have other motor carriers insure, move some freight for your brokerage arm of your business because there's a relationship between your motor carrier organization and your freight brokerage organization. If something happens, you broker a load, a motor carrier does something, and they get sued, lawyers, being the litigious individuals that they are going to reach out to every insurance policy they can in that lawsuit, which may also include your brokerage business. So if you're ABC brokerage and you hire DEF motor carrier to move a load, and DEF motor carrier has an incident, the lawyer may sue DEF motor carrier and ABC motor carrier because ABC motor carrier, one, has $1 million insurance policy that's required, and two, is associated with that load because if they broker the load, their name's on the paper. So think about that. If you do consider setting up your brokerage. Another thing to consider too is that some shippers actually may prefer asset-based carriers instead of brokers because brokers generally don't own assets. Whereas, if you've got a couple trucks and you want to reach out to some organization, Walmart, Home Depot, whoever, and say, hey, look, can I work directly with you? Maybe there's some issues with there. You want to make sure you're good with FMCSA, but in some cases, it may be, okay to work directly with organizations like that. And then if you are going to be a freight broker and broker loads, consider the amount of time you're going to be on the phone. You want to sit down to dinner with your family and your phone's going off because somebody had a blowout on the highway. But anyway, quick little video on freight brokerage. Hope it helps. Alan Rice Randolph. Subscribe, follow us, keep up with us for freight brokerage, motor carrier, tax, LLC, number of things.